November 1st is Friday already. Wow, that's crazy. So, which means we do have NFP, first Friday of the new month. Yeah, let's see. Alright, any trends from previous years or November you're aware of? Well, I still want to go and stick with my thesis role, right? So we're still looking to run up to or going into elections in November. So I'm still expecting kind of one more last leg up before I guess seeing my final larger time frame pullback. So we'll get into that in a bit. But overall, longer time frame targets is going to be a move probably back up to 21,000 or up to 21,000 on NQ here for me. So that is probably what I'm going to be looking for going in towards the end of the year in terms of upside targets. But before we get into that, let's take a look at tickers here. See how we moved from last week. So we also have our monthly candle close coming in as well. So I would actually like to see how our monthly candle is forming. Still looks good here. So I have a couple of days for this actually close here, but yeah, very, very aggressive move up, which is why I'm still expecting that little dip into Q1, going into Q2 probably, but yeah, the monthly is a little bit extended here, in my opinion, so that's the reason for that. But last week we actually got a red candle close here. First one in a while. And I think Philip was mentioning that we had what? So that would be
Yeah, it was.
our we had 6 consecutive green weeks, finally our red one.
Yeah.
Um,
Typical what I was watching,
mhm,
but yeah, that could see if that's all she wrote. Yeah.
yeah. So we had previous break of all-time high. We swept this liquidity here right at 575 here on this retest. So this is actually quite nice. This is what I would like to see here. As long as we remain above 575 here on SPY, this actually can continue to base here, which I do like. So we have that. Once again, it is still a little bit tough here since we are trading at all-time highs. We don't really have too much to really work with. Looks like the last 3 days were actually a little bit red, but it looks like we are setting up an almost like a flag here on a daily, you could say. We are in a bit of a range, so that is something we should be kind of keeping an eye on. And if this is correct, if this is going to be a flag here, should see at least one more leg up as long as we remain above um 575 like I mentioned.
Yeah, you see that back test on the other flag on the daily.
Yep.
Yeah, I really like that, but this flag looks a bit worse in my opinion. But we will see. I
Yeah,
do
we'll
kind of
see
like that
this.
we back tested that and find buyers.
And I think that's really it, to be honest. We would really just have to see a break above I think 585 is just going to be our breakout level here. Yeah, probably like 585 I'd say. So 2 levels to really just keep keeping an eye on for our confirmed break of structure on the bigger picture. 585 and then 575. These 2 levels be my major breakout levels. So technically we are still stuck in a little bit more of a larger range here, but where are we opening right now? 582. So we're gonna be opening right here. So we're actually opening right at the top of the trend line here. to start off the week. So we actually could potentially expect a breakout today since we're going to be opening up at the top of the trend line, or we could flip immediately and just continue to base here a little bit longer. But yeah, I think that's it for the daily. Take a look at the 4-hour. Not really too much here. We do have that gap that we formed from the overnight session last night that we could potentially look to back test into, but this actually looks quite okay for me. Let me actually add my stochastic again. 4-hour just flipped back up here. Go back to the daily. Daily is a bit extended here. Just got out of this cross from that overbought. That's why sometimes stochastic may not be all that great, but we are flipping this back.
Oh, I'm sorry, my stochastic slow is saying the exactly difference from you. The 4 hours is
Oh,
looking
really?
bad, and the daily, yeah, but it's the trading view one. But they are not calculated exactly the same. But it's quite funny.
Oh.
Yeah.
We have a nice level here actually as well on the daily at 582. So we could actually mark this level down here as well. Have a nice little level that goes across here. I'll make this green. It's a nice little level of support right here that we're coming into with this 4-hour hold. So yeah, this would actually be our level to actually hold here, like I said. So I guess for intraday setups today, we could look for a hold of this 582. But otherwise, if we actually get below this, I think we could probably look for that gap fill down below. And then I guess a breakout would be initiated once we actually get our break above overnight highs.
Yeah, that's exactly what the 10-year need to go down here if we're gonna break. I think if not, we're probably gonna go for gap fill for once instead of gap and go. But we'll see. I think it's quite interesting.
Alright, let's take a look at cues. Get my stochastic back again. Alright, cues here. Actually looks kind of nice here. I actually kind of like this. Looks a lot stronger for me. We are close to all-time high. Alright, that is something we do want to remember here. 508. Is our, wait, no, are we at new all-time high? No, we're not. Oh, we are. No, we're not. Very close. 503. Alright, so 503 is our current all-time high. We should make note of that, as we most likely will gravitate that towards that. I think we will see Q's put in a new all-time high going into election. Stochastic here, as you can see, currently overbought. It's definitely still extended a little bit for sure, but I think once we actually get this crossover, which we actually already did, but we need to get this cross back down out of the overbought zone down there. But in terms of the actual structure here, a nice little wedge starting to form here. But I do think overall, we are most likely going to be putting in a new all-time high, right? We're sitting pretty much right at this level here. It had this previous weekly time frame imbalance that we were looking to actually fill. So we've seen here, kind of came down after putting a new all-time high in, came back up, uses imbalance as resistance, came back down, created a higher low, filled this imbalance right here. Came back, filled this one, flipped. That might have been fib as well here. Not quite. Very close though. But yeah, filled this lower time frame, or not lower time frame, lower imbalance here on the weekly. Came back up, finally filled this one, and now this is what I actually really like to see here. We're actually using this fair value gap as support now. So we're actually getting a little bit of a flip here. And you see we're actually basing here quite nice these past 2 weeks. So this is something I'd like to see. So I'd like to see now is us to pretty much gravitate towards that new all-time high. So maybe going up to like 510 or I don't know. Yeah, maybe like 510 to 505. Definitely I could see a new all-time high get put in sometime maybe even this week, since we are going to be opening up pretty much right at 499 on the higher end. Only $3 off of 500 or a new all-time high, so we are extremely close. But definitely going into next month, I definitely could easily see that getting swept. Put a new all-time high and then finally start getting that deeper pullback we've been needing. So that's the weekly. Daily here, same structure actually compared to SPY. Once again, it is a little bit harder to read since we are pretty much right at all-time high levels. We don't really have a whole lot to work with, but in terms of this daily structure, very similar to SPY in terms of its flag. Kind of initiated a little bit of a breakout already. And we could see actually Q's attempted to make a breakout on Friday when we got that push up to 500. Failed break and close above 500 though. That's far what I would like to see. Although no, 497 or 498. Now 498 would be the level I would like for us to actually close above on the daily. So if we got a daily close above 498, I think that would be probably really nice for us to see that new all-time high get put in. So that's what I would like there. And on our flip, probably would have to be if we actually invalidated this flag or this range that we're currently sitting in. So probably if we got below 47, larger time frame close or daily time frame close below 47, would probably look a little bit better here for the actual flip towards the downside there. So that's the 4-hour or the daily time frame there. Said a daily looks okay in terms of the flag, but I do like that weekly, how we actually flip these imbalances here. So that's something that I really like. You can take a screenshot of that. And that gap right there. Alright, cool. Take a look at the 4-hour for some potential setups today. So we had yesterday's push up to 500, or Friday's push up to 500. Got a little bit of a dip here. And then we're having keys with a gap up here. Almost at equal highs. In terms of this 4-hour, we have a little bit more room here if we do want to go for that previous high of day break, but this actually looks kind of okay here for potential gap and go day. We'll see. We'll see what's up. Yeah, for me, not really too much with this 4-hour. I think we're just gonna have to see how we move off this open. Alright, let's take a look at Apple. So Apple here, really nice breakout from this previous wedge. Did put in a new all-time high last week, although it wasn't actually a significant all-time high. Not really a very significant all-time high, as we only went up by like a couple of cents previously. Yeah, we only went up about like 20 something cents from our previous all-time high, so that was 2 weeks ago, and now we are getting a little bit of a base here. Also, another thing that I really like to see, right? So with this weekly kind of wedge here, right? Very, very simple, just break and retest is what we're getting so far, right? So we had this breakout candle that got initiated right here above, yeah, 233. 232 is the level I would like us to hold, or even just 230 actually, maybe just 230. So we got our break above 230. We put in that new all-time high, and then we got a nice, close above that structure there. Last week's candle, right? All this was really just a back test for right now. So we got our little dip back into that 230 area. Nice little buy up. All right, continue to hold this 230. Now, what was once previous resistance now got flipped into support. So now I would like to just see this kind of potentially base here again, and then this would set us up for another leg up for a new, almost bigger all-time high. I would like to see. So potentially going up to 240s or even like 250 maybe. Yeah, especially with earnings coming up this week. Yeah, 31st, so on Thursday. Yeah, that could be the catalyst if it is good for us to actually get a really, really nice push for Apple here. Daily. Yeah, we don't really have too much going on. Pretty much the same exact thing I was just talking about. But that just flip or break and retest of structure. Actually looks a lot better on the daily here. So you can see we're basing here, or we had this previous resistance right at 230, right? We actually had a bit of a flag here. It's not the prettiest one if you draw it out, but it does kind of work. So we had this previous flag right here. Got our break. Yeah, got our breakout, put a new all-time high, and now we're getting a break and retest of that previous structure there. So I really just need to see how we interact at this 230. As long as we hold above 230, we should be good to continue up and actually use this as support. But otherwise, if you do get below 230, that might be our invalidation of that flag breakout on the weekly. Alright, so that might be an invalidation of this setup on a weekly, and that could be a potential fake breakout depending on what we get there. Alright, that's that for Apple. Let's take a look at Microsoft. So Microsoft already started initiating that move that I was kind of looking for with the swings. Like I said, we kind of, or for me, I did miss my average at 408. So Microsoft here, weekly, looks like we're in a nice little higher low here, which almost looks like we're actually setting up in a bit of a flag, which probably isn't good for us longer term. Probably not good for us longer term, but yeah, it looks like we are setting up in a bit of a range here. So it looks like this is actually the same range that we were stuck in previously, back in, yeah, like February, March, April. You can see we had a nice little wide range here that we're going in between, and looks like we could see we're pretty much in that same exact structure right now here. So official breakout here, I would like us to probably get back above 435. If we could get a nice close above 435, so above this previous high, that should be okay, although that would really just continue to follow structure with this higher high and higher low. So it's kind of hard to say, but if this is going to follow structure, we should actually see at least a push up to like 440 or 445 even, if this does want to continue to play out with the structure here. But because we are going to be in the structure, the larger breakout or the longer term breakout is definitely going to be once we actually get above either this upper trend line here or get that break below this lower trend line for that kind of continuation there. So that's kind of nice there. And then we do have, yeah, we have earnings with Microsoft coming in Wednesday. So that is going to be another potential catalyst that we're going to need to pay attention to coming up. So yeah, that is pretty much that on the weekly. Nothing too much here on the daily. Yeah, so on the daily I did draw this kind of like wedge here as well. I forgot exactly how I drew it, but yeah, we were kind of like stalling here. Finally initiate our breakout last week. Got a nice little push. We filled this previous imbalance here, kind of came back up, but yeah, we're struggling here right at 430 once again too. I would like us to get back above there for that actual break up. If we get above 430, should be a nice push up to 440s. But once again, we see we have a lot of chop here right at this area, which I don't really like because really we have a whole lot of room to work with here, but you know, our sellers could step in pretty much at any moment just based off kind of like the structure over here. So not a big fan of this, but it looks like if we did want to pop up, we should see at least 440 minimum. So that's kind of what I would look for there. And I think that's it. All right. Oh, so Google's actually quite nice here. So Google Weekly. Playing out nicely so far, right? We had this larger weekly trend line that we've been looking to follow, right? Or we've been following this, yeah, we've been following this setup for a while now. So we had this fake breakout previously, kind of flip back up. Now it's actually started to base in a little bit of a flag here. Yeah, started to base in a little bit of a flag here, right at 163. So that'll be a level of interest for me for us to actually hold. Yeah, so 163 will be our hold for this weekly time frame as we are starting to base. And now we are in a bit of a range from about 162.89 probably to about like 160. See, I'd just say 168. Maybe a little bit better. I think this is that level that we were talking about last week actually. So same exact thing here. Not really much has changed in terms of weekly as we are kind of like basing it, but it looks like we're flagging, which is nice to see. So if we are flagging on this weekly time frame, this flag should break out up towards the 170 area if we are going to see this push higher. But yeah, continue to base here, but like I said, full breakout would have to be above 168, and then above 168 should pretty much be a straight shot up to like 174, 175, I think, for me. Just back up to this previous kind of like high over here. So definitely like mid 170s I would look for if we were to actually get above that 168 level, which you see actually on this 4 hour, or currently where we're sitting at right now, we're actually opening right at 168. So once again, this could be just a potential gap and go. Yeah, take a look at that. Quite nice there. Yeah, so on the daily, should pretty much be the same exact thing. Yeah, nice little flag that we're kind of setting up here actually. So a bit of a wedge structure there, right? Lower high right here with a nice little flat base. Once again, we are opening up at that 168, so opening up on the higher end here. So technically this daily is going to be initiating a breakout since we do have a bit of a gap up here. So this actually could be a gap and go unless we'd like to see a back test first of this previous breakout from this lower high. So we have this lower high, we're opening up at a gap up. We'll get a back test into this upper trend line here, use that as support, and then we'll finally flip. Otherwise, this could be a gap and go. But we do have earnings tomorrow, right? 29th. Yeah, that's tomorrow, right? Yeah, tomorrow. We have Google earnings tomorrow. So this is going to be one of the first teams to actually report. So this is going to be a very interesting one. So this more so is really going to be moved off of data, so off of the catalyst. This breakout really is going to happen. So we can't 100% play the chart here, as we do have earnings coming in tomorrow, which is a bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. And yeah, same exact thing for the 4 hour. Yeah, opening up at a gap up here. Very, very large move actually from where we closed on Friday. We have a $3 gap up here on Google, so definitely a bigger move for sure. Alright. Alright, last name, Nvidia. So Nvidia's a little bit tough here as this is also sitting at all-time high. Looks like we have some structure drawn from last week. We had this little bit of a wedge. Nice little back test. Got a little bit more continuation above this previous high. So right there, 140. Opened actually, yeah, that close, last week's close actually ended up closing higher from that new all-time high right there. So previous all-time high, this was at 140.7. And then that was back in June/July. Or so June, no, it was back in June. So back in June, we had last week's candle put in a new all-time high, and we actually had a nice close above there. So I could actually potentially seeing this continue maybe up to at least like 150 before starting to see some resistance, as this breakout move actually is pretty much just getting started for me, I guess. Especially since this close did get above that previous all-time high here, but it's not a significant close. It's not a really strong close. It's pretty much right at it. So technically, yes, this can still flip here, but based off how other tickers are moving, if all of those follow through, I think we'll be able to also see some follow through coming from Nvidia here. We have earnings a while from now, so don't really have to worry too much about catalyst here. In terms of the daily, yeah, nice little flip here on the daily. So we could see got our break out above new all-time high on the 21st. Got a little retest of previous all-time high, previous support here, which is good to see. Continue to base here a little bit. Only thing I don't like is how we're actually closing here, or how we closed on Friday. So we had a nice little wick right there on Friday, but looks like we are going to be opening up pretty much. No, we're going to be opening up slightly higher from Friday's close, so a little bit up, but nothing too significant to actually initiate a breakout. So I think Nvidia is going to be a little bit more of a slower name ticker for this week, as we are already sitting at highs. So most likely just going to be a slower grind move if we are looking to actually continue up to like that 150.
Yeah, based on the tickers, I kinda want us to have like a failed breakout or a more consolidating, like little bit of bigger up and down moves before we get the real. But who knows? Who knows? It's really hard to say. But just based on, yeah. Oh, sorry.
Oh, we're all good. All right. Yeah, I think that's really it. For Nvidia, don't really have too much. Yeah, we're still continuing to base here, so Official breakout levels probably are gonna be above. Hmm, kind of above where we're at right now, actually, but maybe above previous hive day. So above previous hive day here, you get above there. I think we could see a new all-time high get put in again. And then for a downside, I would look for a break of this higher low on this 4 hour if we are gonna lose this. It looks like we have room to base though, because if this is gonna be some type of structure here, right? If this is gonna be a flat top here, we could draw a trend line like this, and then we have our lower trend line as a higher low. So technically we can continue to base for like what? Today, Tuesday, Wednesday. Wednesday we could either break out, or Thursday we could break out, which would actually line up with our thesis just because we have earnings, right? We have earnings tomorrow, and we also have earnings on Wednesday. So Tuesday and Thursday, I would probably more so like us to break out. Um, and then today we could actually continue to stay inside of structure here. So that's what I would look for there with NVIDIA. Questions on that? Or questions with any
Hello?
charts?
No.
Cool.
All good.
Yeah, good. You kinda in the same room with me. I mean, Google should move a bit if we're gonna break out, maybe. But before then, it's kinda, yeah, I'm not
Alright.
really liking it.
Let's actually take a look at our calendar now. There's one more thing we have to look at. So I'll take a look at our calendar.
Yeah.
So earnings calendar, yeah. Right. Once again, we are in earnings season now. Right. We had financials report 2 weeks ago. Last week we had our first biggest name, which was Tesla, and I don't know if you guys seen that earnings report. That was insane, though. Very very large jump. Um, I think options with that, with Tesla logs, I think they went to like 1,000%. Was insane. With out of the money positions, yeah. Very very crazy. Um, but yeah, this week we have pretty much all the chips reporting this week, right? So highlight names: AMD, Google is going to be tomorrow after close. Wednesday, Microsoft, Meta, and then Thursday, Amazon and Apple. So those are going to be the larger names there that are going to be reporting from me. And I think that's it. You know, we don't really pay attention to anything else unless you guys want to gamble on earnings, but not my recommendation. But yeah, those are kind of like the six highlight names. So AMD, Google tomorrow after close, Wednesday after close, Microsoft Meta, and then Thursday after close, Amazon and Apple. And then in terms of news, um, one thing that's going to be important this week is that we do actually have quite a bit of catalyst this week. Nothing today though, unfortunately. Which actually would make sense with what we were talking about earlier, with Nvidia being a little bit more of an inside day. So no data today at all for us, which means potentially a little bit more of a slower slash cleaner price action day, but expect more of an inside day overall. Tomorrow we have consumer confidence at 10. Might move us a little bit. So that'll be our first 10 a.m. data, and then Wednesday we have GDP. I don't think we'll really move too much off of that. And home sales Wednesday as well at 10, so that's another 10 a.m. data there, which we would have to pay attention to. And then biggest probably events are going to be Thursday and Friday. So Thursday we have PCE following up after 9:45 PMI, but that'll probably get dropped at 10, like how it normally is. And then I think our biggest, most important day is going to be Friday, with NFP. So non-farm payrolls on Friday. Also the start of a new month, right? First Friday of the month, NFP gets reported. And then with Thursday, actually, this also is going to be pretty significant, as this would initiate our monthly close here. So that is another thing I would pay attention to how we're going to be closing. But overall, I don't think we'll initiate any type of larger time frame breakout yet. I think it's more so going to be initiated in November for me. That's what I'm looking for there, but I think we're still gonna kind of have to see with that. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So potential slower week today for Monday, and then we'll start picking up for sure as we go later into the week. But yeah, that's it. That is it. All right. So any questions with that now? Or any questions at all? I think I covered everything.